Hi there, hope you're doing well. I'm going to pick up again our little study of Joshua chapter 3. And the other day I told you about Joshua himself as the leader being instructed to do incredible things as he followed Moses' leadership of the people of Israel. And in chapter 3, verse 7, there was a reminder that God would be with Joshua just as he had been with Moses. And then in verse 8, Joshua 3, verse 8, give this command to the priests who carry the Ark of the Covenant. When you reach the banks of the river Jordan, take a few steps into the river and stop. And you can just imagine, can't you? There's the people of Israel are carrying along and they come against this impenetrable barrier, the Jordan River in full flood, and they can't get across. And so Joshua, in connection with God, comes up with this plan and he says to the priests, I want you to start walking into the river and then I want you to stop. And you can imagine, can't you, how they may have responded to this. Think, well, is this really such a great idea? Is it full of faith or is it full of folly? And yet what they did was that they obeyed the voice of God through Joshua. And as we'll read later on, they saw an amazing thing happen. But sometimes God wants us to step into what seems to be utterly crazy. See, it would have been one thing to say to the Israelites, wade through, keep pushing, especially if they could find a shallow part or a place where you could easily ford the river. But now the idea was that you go into the river and you stop. So everything in their heads would be saying, this doesn't make any sense. And yet, if God has said it to Joshua and we trust Joshua, then we're going to go for it. What is God saying to you today about what you need to trust him in? Are there steps he wants you to take that from a human point of view seem absolutely nonsensical? Are there things that he's laid on your heart to do that you know come from God, and yet everything around you says this is not the time or the place? I really believe that during this time of lockdown, God wants us to recharge, to re-energize, to reskill, to prepare us for what happens afterwards. I'm sure that what happens after this lockdown period will be different from what we've experienced to this point. I'm sure of that. How it will be different, I really don't know. But it's an opportunity for us to have this great reset in our lives. And maybe during this reset time, this reset period, God wants you to make the main thing again. You before had become so caught up with stuff. For those of us who are in Christian ministry, we can make ministry the goal. The goal has never been ministry. The goal has always been God. And yet we've taken our eyes off God and put it on ministry at times. And yet, really, he just wants to simply bring us back into all that he has for us. So I believe the Lord is saying to us today, I want you to take a step into the unknown and wait for me there. And it may make no sense, but I'm in this. Will you trust me? Will you trust me? So may God give you grace today to hear the voice of God, to respond to the call of God, and move into the destiny of God that he designed for you from the beginning of the world. Be blessed.